What happens in a custody case when both parents are proven unfit? Well, this is a great question. I cannot answer this question for all jurisdictions, but I can answer it as it applies in the jurisdiction where I practice divorce and family law, and that's Utah. First, I do not know the definitive answer to your question based upon the knowledge I've accumulated as a divorce and family lawyer for the past 26 years. In researching the question, however, here is what I found. If a court in a termination of parental rights proceeding determines that both parents are unfit and that thus custody of the children should not and cannot be awarded to either parent, then it appears to me that Utah Code Section 80-4-305 applies. It provides at subsection 2, quote, "Upon entry of an order under this chapter, the juvenile court may, A, place the child in the legal custody and guardianship of a child-placing agency or the division for adoption, or B, make any other disposition of the child authorized under Section 80-3-405. Section 80-3-405 permits a court to A, place the children in the custody of the Division of Child and Family Services or any other appropriate person. B, the juvenile court may appoint a guardian for the minor if it appears necessary in the interest of the minor. The juvenile court may also order protective supervision, family preservation, sibling visitation, or other services. D, if a minor has been placed with an individual or relative as a result of an adjudication under this chapter, the juvenile court may enter an order of permanent legal custody and guardianship with the individual or relative of the minor. E, the juvenile court may order a child be committed to the physical custody of a local mental health authority. G, the juvenile court may order that a minor be placed in a hospital or other suitable facility to be examined or treated by a mental health therapist or to receive other special care. And finally, H, the juvenile court may make other reasonable orders for the best interest of the minor.